and a warm welcome to all of you. I'm Nidhi Kumar, your host, and we're extremely excited to bring to you the Eat Right India initiative of the FSSAI, where we acknowledge Herbalife Nutrition for always supporting us in our endeavors and acknowledge our broadcasting partners, Daily Hunt and the Josh app. And together we'd like to welcome all of you. Most of us have the most cherished food memories with grandmothers and mothers. So we today talk on wellness and nutrition. तो वो दादी और नानी के नुस्खे जो होते हैं, they have become a part of our life, which we carry forward and advocate in the later stages of our life. But with more and more people exploring the field of nutrition and diet, the meaning of diet has evolved over the times, and wellness has become a bigger goal than just curing illness. To talk more of this, we have with us Dr. Shikha Sharma, founder of the organization NutriWell, which works in preventive healthcare sector. The organization is a pioneer in integrating modern nutrition with Vedic nutrition. She has a weekly column for more than a decade in the national newspaper HT Brunch. She has been honored with prestigious awards like Woman Achiever Award and Great Indian Woman Award, Hall of Fame Award, and many more. She's also been, in the past, has been the health advisor to many people in India, including some chief ministers of Indian states and late Prime Minister, among others. Very, very warm welcome to you, Shikha ji, on this program.
Thank you very much.
What are the learnings from the pandemic regarding self-protection through nutrition? Jaise, do it yourself at home.
Yes. See, the first and the biggest learning during pandemic has been that immunity was the only barrier between life and death. Every doctor was only talking about the fact that if your immunity is high and you don't have comorbidities, you have a far better chance than others whose immunity is down and who have comorbidities. That means there was only one barricade between life and death, and that was immunity. Now we all know that you can't buy immunity off the shelf. You can't get an injection of immunity. So immunity is something where it can only happen through your own proper nutrition and building, and it takes time to build immunity. It cannot be done overnight. So I think the biggest learning I feel for most people was that if one has to be prepared and insured against future diseases, the best way is to eat correctly, eat in balance, and have a balanced and nutritious diet. And the second learning, which is the biggest learning for which I am very personally happy about, is that finally people started respecting the Vedic sciences. I have been a big proponent of the Vedic sciences, even though I come from, I'm an MBBS doctor and I come from modern medicine. But I think today, after during this COVID and now after COVID, people have realized that the ancient Vedic sciences of having turmeric, cinnamon, amla, these were actually powerful sciences. It is not that they were just casual or they were something to be done, offhand. They are very powerful methodologies which should be now, I would say, embraced along with more scientific research, so that, see, as doctors, I know we have a limitation. Unless something is published in a research paper, we don't feel confident about giving it to our patients. And that's in a way a safe thing to do. So that is why I think the biggest thing now required for our country is more and more research papers to be published on the ancient Vedic science.
Absolutely. जैसे आपने कहा कि बहुत सारे मायने हैं वैदिक न्यूट्रिशन के। वैदिक न्यूट्रिशन की हम बाद में बात करेंगे। तो क्या कहना चाहेंगी आप इम्यूनिटी के बारे में? आपने इतनी बात की, इम्यूनिटी बिल्डिंग फूड से क्या मतलब है और क्या होता है बैलेंस डाइट?
देखिए, इम्यूनिटी बिल्डिंग फूड्स उसमें कई तरह के होते हैं। जो इम्यूनिटी का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वेदास में, उसको ओजस कहते हैं। और ओजस इंटरेस्टिंगली इम्यूनिटी को भी कहते हैं। ओजस से इम्यूनिटी भी आती है और फर्टिलिटी भी आती है। और पैराडॉक्सिकली अगर आप इंटरेस्टिंगली देखें, आज के जमाने में फर्टिलिटी भी डाउन है और इम्यूनिटी भी डाउन है लोगों की। और दोनों का कारण यही है कि जो उनका खाना पीना है वो डेफिशिएंट हो गया है, बहुत ज्यादा डेफिशिएंट है। तो इम्यूनिटी बूस्टिंग डाइट एक्चुअली फर्टिलिटी बूस्टिंग डाइट भी मानी जाती है, जिसके अंदर सबसे पहला नंबर आता है आंवला का। और आंवला का सबसे, जो आप कह सकते हैं, फैंटास्टिक फॉर्मूला जो कि पूरे दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा ब्रांड नेम है, वो है च्यवनप्राश, यानी जो ऋषि च्यवन ने बनाया था जो फॉर्मूला, और उन्हीं के नाम से वो प्रचलित है, च्यवनप्राश. So च्यवनप्राश is 95% amla and the rest of it is 46 to 50 herbs. So आंवला की एक बहुत बड़ी एक भूमिका रही है इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाने में. सेकेंड ऑफ कोर्स है हल्दी, टर्मरिक, जो कि एक बहुत पावरफुल एंटी इंफ्लेमेटरी है. और जैसे कि आपने कोविड के दौरान देखा कि जो रैम्पेंट इन्फ्लेमेशन थी, जनरलाइज्ड इन्फ्लेमेशन जो ट्रिगर कर रही थी इनटू एक्यूट इन्फ्लेमेशन, तो उसको लड़ने के लिए टर्मरिक यानी हल्दी की बातचीत तो कब से हो रही है, मगर इस बार टर्मरिक ने अपना एक रूप दिखाया. यानी कि मैं कह सकती हूँ, आई थिंक पूरी दुनिया हल्दी के रंग में रंग गई, क्योंकि उनको सबको समझ आ गया कि एंटी इन्फ्लेमेटरी सिर्फ एक हॉबी नहीं है, इट इज लाइक अ मेडिसिन. तीसरी चीज आई वुड से कि जो हमारे घरों में काढ़े बनाए थे, हमारी नानी दादी काढ़े बनाती थी, विच इज एक्चुअली अ डिकॉक्शन. और डिकॉक्शन और काढ़ा, जैसे जो ड्यूरिंग कोविड काफी लोगों ने उसको लिया और उसका फायदा भी हुआ उन्हें, जिसके अंदर जिंजर, अदरक, दालचीनी, काली मिर्च और तुलसी और टर्मरिक, ये सारी चीजें मिलके जो काढ़ा बना, और उसको शहद के साथ या उसको जैसे मुनक्का है उसको भी डाल के लिया गया, और या अगर मुनक्का नहीं है तो काढ़े को फिर थोड़ा सा हल्का गर्म करके शहद के साथ लिया गया. तो ये सारी जो आप कह सकते हैं जो हमारे ट्रेडिशन में ये सारी चीजें घरों में लोग जानते थे, वो उसने इतनी बड़ी बीमारी से लड़ना शुरू किया. उस नॉलेज ने इतनी बड़ी बीमारी का फेस करना शुरू किया. अगर आप एक छोटी सी चीज देखें कि ये जो काढ़े हैं, ये जो घर घर में उपलब्ध है, ये हल्की फुल्की दवाइयां नहीं है, ये बहुत इम्पैक्टफुल दवाइयां है, जबकि ये स्टमक के लिए बहुत जेंटल होती है, यानी स्टमक पे ये हैवी नहीं होती, मगर काम इनका अच्छा होता है. दे आर वेरी इम्पैक्टफुल. सो आई थिंक ये भी एक बहुत बड़ी सीख थी. एंड फाइनली आई वुड से, जो मेरे मानने में शायद अभी भी वो सीख पूरी नहीं हुई है, वो है लोगों का हेल्थ की तरफ रुझाव. क्योंकि आई थिंक हेल्थ को लोग थोड़ा कैजुअली लेते हैं, खासकर हमारे देश में बहुत कैजुअली लेते हैं. और कोविड ने हमें सिखाया कि स्पेशली जो सेकेंड वेव आई थी, कि संपत्ति और वेल्थ और प्रॉस्पेरिटी का कोविड से वायरस को नहीं पता कि आप कितने प्रॉस्पेरस हैं, कितने वेल्दी हैं. अगर आपने अपनी सेहत पे, अपनी हेल्थ पे ध्यान नहीं दिया है, तो काफी सारे प्रॉस्पेरस लोगों को भी हॉस्पिटल के बेड्स नहीं मिले, ऑक्सीजन की सप्लाई समय से नहीं मिली. तो इसीलिए आई थिंक ये जो तीसरी चीज जो मेरे मानने में अभी भी लोगों को शायद उतना उस तरफ रुझाव नहीं बढ़ा है जो बढ़ना चाहिए, वो है हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस की तरफ. क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली आई वुड से कि हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस, लाइक इफ यू हैव हेल्थ यू हैव एवरीथिंग, एंड इफ यू डोंट हैव हेल्थ यू हैव नथिंग. तो ये तो एक बहुत बड़ी चीज है. और हेल्थ इज वेल्थ तो बहुत पुरानी चीज है, आज की जमाने की नहीं है. वो तो सोक्रेटिस और प्लेटो के जमाने से हेल्थ इज वेल्थ का के बारे में बातचीत होती थी. बट आई थिंक होपफुली कि कोविड के बाद ज्यादा लोगों का रुझाव हेल्थ पे जाएगा. यानी पहले अगर आप देखें, जब मैंने मेडिकल से ये डायरेक्शन थोड़ी प्रिवेंशन पे ली, तो लोग कहते थे कि हेल्थ इज अ फैड, यानी हेल्दी बनना, एक्सरसाइज करना और हेल्दी चीजों के बारे में बातचीत करना इज अ फैड, इज अ हॉबी. उसको कुछ कुछ हॉबी के रूप में लोग लेते थे. और थोड़ा सा मजाक भी रहता था कि भाई हम हेल्दी नहीं खाते, हमें हेल्दी खाने से एलर्जी है, या हम ये सब मतलब. बट अब कोविड में लोगों को रियलाइज हुआ है कि हेल्थ इज एक्चुअली फंडामेंटल, इट्स फंडामेंटल टू लाइफ.
बिल्कुल. मैं जानना चाहूंगी ग्लूटेन किसे कहा जाता है? व्हाई आर दीज फूड सेंसिटिविटी इज सच अ इशू नाउ विद पीपल?
फूड, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ग्लूटेन किसे कहा जाता है? तो ग्लूटेन होता है जो गेहूं है, गेहूं का जो प्रोटीन है ग्लाइडिन, उससे वो ग्लूटेन का पार्ट होता है. तो ग्लूटेन एक तरह का आप कह सकते हैं गेहूं का पार्ट है, और उसके अंदर का जो प्रोटीन है वो एक्टिव, कुछ लोगों को उससे इंटॉलरेंस होती है, वो डाइजेस्ट नहीं कर पाते, और उनके इंटेस्टाइन में एलर्जी की तरह, क्रॉनिक इन्फ्लेमेशन की तरह एक सिचुएशन होती है. अब पहला सवाल है क्यों, जब हजारों सालों से लोग गेहूं खा रहे हैं, तो ये एलर्जी की बात और ये इंटॉलरेंस की बात क्यों? उसके कई कारण हो सकते हैं. आई थिंक पहला कारण तो यही हो सकता है कि पहले खाने पीने में इतने ज्यादा आर्टिफिशियल कलर्स, फ्लेवर्स, पेस्टिसाइड्स, केमिकल्स नहीं होते थे. अगर आप देखें तो हमारा मैक्सिमम एग्रीकल्चर या तो फर्टिलाइजर जो केमिकल है उससे होता है, या फिर उसपे खूब सारा पेस्टिसाइड डाला जाता है जो अपने आप में एक बहुत हानिकारक केमिकल है। और उसके ऊपर फिर क्या है कि जो थर्ड लेयर ऑफ प्रोसेसिंग है वो भी बहुत खराब होती है, उसमें भी खूब सारे एंटी फंगल और प्रिजर्वेटिव डाले जाते हैं। तो जो शरीर की झेलने की कैपेसिटी कम हो जाती है, द बॉडी कैन ओनली टेक एज मच, इट कैन नॉट टेक बियॉन्ड द पॉइंट। तो जब शरीर में आप इतने केमिकल डालेंगे, इतने अलग अलग तरीके के आर्टिफिशियल चीजें डालेंगे, तो कहीं ना कहीं तो क्रॉनिक इन्फ्लेमेशन शुरू हो ही जाएगी। तो क्योंकि गेहूं की जो एग्रीकल्चरल रेवोल्यूशन आया, उसमें सबसे ज्यादा गेहूं के साथ काम हुआ, फर्टिलाइजर्स का, केमिकल्स का, इस तरह की। तो इसीलिए ग्लूटेन एलर्जी ज्यादा कॉमन हो गई कंपेयर टू अदर फूड्स। तो
बिल्कुल।
इसका सोल्यूशन भी मैं साथ साथ बता देती हूँ। इसका सोल्यूशन बहुत सिंपल है। अगर आपको डायग्नोस हुआ है कि आपको हो सकता है ग्लूटेन से एलर्जी है, तो यू कैन शिफ्ट टू मिलेट्स, जैसे किनवा है, बाजरा है, और इस तरह की चीजें हैं, आप उस पर शिफ्ट कर जा सकते हैं। ऑर्गेनिक राइस है, ब्राउन राइस है, इन सारी चीजों पे आप शिफ्ट कीजिए धीरे धीरे करके, एकदम से नहीं, ताकि आपके स्टमक, आपके इंटेस्टाइन को हीलिंग का मौका मिले।
बिल्कुल सही आपने कहा। दूसरा सवाल ये है कि मिल्क वाज कंसिडर्ड एन एलिक्सिर फर्स्ट, नाउ अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल कॉल इट अ पॉइजन, व्हाई सो?
अगेन प्रॉब्लम इज द सेम। अगर आप कोई भी आंकड़ा देख लीजिए कि हमारे देश में शायद उतनी काउज एंड बफलोज नहीं है जितने लीटर दूध आता है। तो इट इज वेरी, आई मीन इट इज लाइक, आई वुड से मैथमेटिकल पैराडॉक्स कि जितनी गाय और बफलोज नहीं है उससे ज्यादा दूध कैसे आ रहा है। तो उसका कारण है कि बहुत सारे ऐसे आर्टिफिशियल केमिकल्स मिलाए जाते हैं, और दूध को, जैसे अगर 1 लीटर दूध है उसको उसका 5 लीटर बना दिया जाता है। तो अगेन इट इज बिकॉज जो चीज नेचुरल होनी चाहिए थी अब वो केमिकल बनती जा रही है। क्योंकि डिमांड एंड सप्लाई का गैप है, डिमांड ज्यादा है, सप्लाई नहीं है। तो इसीलिए मिल्क इज, द काइंड ऑफ मिल्क वी गेट इन द मार्केट इज नॉट ओरिजिनल, नॉट ऑथेंटिक।
Absolutely. Uh, I'd like to now ask you, can disease be reversed as a doctor? How? For example, cancer. You spoke of cancer.
यस, फंडामेंटली जब मैं मेडिसिन पढ़ रही थी तो कैंसर को लाइफस्टाइल डिसऑर्डर नहीं कहा जाता था। आज की डेट में मोस्ट कैंसर स्पेशलिस्ट कॉल कैंसर और लाइफस्टाइल डिसऑर्डर, जो अपने आप में आई वुड से एक बहुत जिसको हम करेक्टेबल चीज कह सकते हैं। यानी कि इसमें करेक्शन, जिस चीज को भी लाइफस्टाइल से जोड़ के आप बोलें कि भई ये लाइफस्टाइल से बनी है, चाहे वो हार्ट डिजीज है, चाहे डायबिटीज है, चाहे कैंसर है, यानी कि लाइफस्टाइल आप ठीक करेंगे तो वो रिवर्स भी हो जाएगी। So obviously it's not that a stage 4 cancer can be reversed, but definitely I think कि क्योंकि 40% of cancers have a correlation with a bad diet and significantly with other stressful conditions, तो I think cancer से बचने के simple तरीका है कि पहली बात तो आप अपने खाने पीने में बिल्कुल नेचुरल और ऑर्गेनिक खाना खाइए। नंबर 2, अपना वजन घटाइए, एक जो नॉर्मल बॉडी वेट आपका होना चाहिए उसी के आसपास रखिए। एंड योगा, मेडिटेशन या एक्सरसाइज एंड मेडिटेशन, या जिसको हम प्राणायाम कहते हैं, या प्राणायाम से शुरू कीजिए, फिर मेडिटेशन पे तो थोड़ा सा मुश्किल होता है। तो ब्रीदिंग एक्सरसाइजेस, फिजिकल एक्सरसाइजेस एंड अ क्लीन डाइट, साफ सुथरा खाना जिसके अंदर केमिकल नहीं है, ऑर्गेनिक है, और बॉडी वेट आपका अगर नॉर्मल के आसपास है, तो आई थिंक दैट इज द बेस्ट सोल्यूशन फॉर ऑल टाइप्स ऑफ डिजीजेस।
And now I want to ask you about Vedic nutrition. Please tell us what it is and इसके मायने क्या हैं?
पहली बात मैं बताऊंगी वैदिक न्यूट्रिशन की तरफ मेरा रुझाव क्यों गया। सो व्हेन आई स्टडीड मेडिसिन, उस टाइम हमें एज डॉक्टर्स कभी न्यूट्रिशन पढ़ाया नहीं गया, हमारे कोर्स करिकुलम में न्यूट्रिशन नहीं था। बट हमेशा हर डिजीज का ट्रीटमेंट का जो फर्स्ट पॉइंट था होता था कि डाइट मॉडिफिकेशन एंड लाइफस्टाइल मॉडिफिकेशन, बट उसके आगे कुछ लिखा नहीं होता था कि क्या डाइट और क्या लाइफस्टाइल। सो जब मैं मेरी पोस्टिंग जब हुई कार्डियोलॉजी में, तो वहां पे मैंने आईसीयू में एवरी डे आई टू सी वन पेशेंट डाई। तो आई थिंक कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लगा कि ये तो मतलब ये तो जो फनल है बीमारों का वो तो खत्म ही नहीं होगा, बिकॉज डाइट और लाइफस्टाइल तो लोगों की खराब होती जा रही है, और उस तरफ उस एरिया में कुछ काम भी नहीं हो रहा, ज्यादा स्ट्रक्चर्ड अप्रोच नहीं है। जैसे हॉस्पिटल्स में हमको बहुत स्ट्रक्चर्ड वे में सिखाया जाता है, देयर इज अ प्रोटोकॉल, बट प्रिवेंशन में कोई स्ट्रक्चर नहीं था। जो जिसका मन है तो कर रहे हैं, नहीं है तो नहीं कर रहे। तो मुझे लगा मुझे इस एरिया में काम करना चाहिए, और इस करके मैंने न्यूट्रिशन पे थोड़ा फोकस किया। जब मैंने न्यूट्रिशन पे फोकस किया तो पेशेंट्स के सवाल थे, उनके मेरे पास उत्तर नहीं थे। जैसे पेशेंट ने कहा कि जी मेरे बच्चे का टॉन्सिलाइटिस का ऑपरेशन है, तो उसके बाद मेरा बच्चा जिद कर रहा है कि भाई उसे आइसक्रीम खानी है, तो मैं दूं या ना दूं। एज अ डॉक्टर तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, क्योंकि आइसक्रीम है, दूध है, कैल्शियम है उसमें। बट व्हेन आई स्पोक टू माय टीम, और मेरी टीम में आयुर्वेदिक डॉक्टर्स थे, न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट थी, तो डॉक्टर्स, आयुर्वेदिक डॉक्टर्स ने कहा नहीं मैम, दही की तासीर ठंडी है, अगर ये बच्चे को देंगे तो इसका इन्फ्लेमेशन बढ़ेगा, कम नहीं होगा, तो इसको नहीं देनी है। तो मुझे बड़ा इंटरेस्ट आया कि तासीर क्या होता है, ये प्रकृति क्या होती है। सो व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड स्टडिंग अबाउट वैदिक न्यूट्रिशन, तो मेरा जेनेटिक्स में भी काफी इंटरेस्ट है, तो मुझे लगा ये तो बिल्कुल जेनेटिक न्यूट्रिशन के बारे में बातचीत हो रही है, यानी जेनेटिक्स एंड न्यूट्रिशन को जो तालमेल है वो बन रहा है। दूसरी चीज जो मुझे बहुत ही अच्छी लगी कि जो नॉर्मल बेसिक न्यूट्रिशन में तो कहा जाता है कि भाई ये एप्पल है, इसमें इतना प्रोटीन है, फाइबर है, कार्ब्स है, और ये विटामिन है, ये मिनरल है, और उसके ऊपर और कुछ नहीं बताया जाता। मगर वैदिक न्यूट्रिशन में बताया जाता है कि आप एप्पल खाएंगे तो आपकी किस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को ज्यादा सूट करेगा, किस समय खाएंगे तो ज्यादा सूट करेगा, किस खाने के साथ खाएंगे, यानी खाने के साथ खाएं या खाने के अलग खाएं, विद मील्स खाएं कि अलोन खाएं, उसका फर्क अलग आएगा, सीजन का फर्क अलग आएगा, उम्र का फर्क अलग आएगा। तो टिपिकल एग्जांपल दही की लेते हैं। दही अगर आप बच्चे को विंटर्स में देंगे, रात के समय देंगे, तो उसका कफ बढ़ेगा, उसको फ्लेम होगी, और अगर उसका एस्थमेटिक टेंडेंसी है तो एस्थमा ट्रिगर हो जाएगा। और वही दही अगर आप किसी युवक को देंगे, लाइक इन 20s, और उसको दिन में देंगे, तो उसको बहुत फायदा होगा, क्योंकि उस समय उसका पित्त बढ़ा हुआ है, फायर एलिमेंट बढ़ा हुआ है, और दही और अगर छाछ अगर उसको देंगे तो और भी बेटर है। सो जो कहने का मतलब है, जो ये साइंस है, द साइंस ऑफ डायनामिज्म ऑफ फूड, मतलब एक होता है कि खाने को आप सिर्फ उसका कैल्शियम और आयरन ही गिने, दूसरा है कि कैल्शियम आपके शरीर में बिहेव कैसे करेगा, वो फूड आपके शरीर में जाके कैसे रिएक्ट करेगा, ये साइंस सिर्फ वेदास में है, ये और कहीं नहीं है।
So I was asking you, how do we get to know if anyone has gluten intolerance?
उसके मल्टीपल तरीके हैं। देखिए, पहला तरीका तो है कि आप टेस्ट कराएं, और काफी सारे टेस्ट अवेलेबल हैं। इनफैक्ट एक कंपनी है मैपमैजिनोम, वो टेस्ट करती है, बहुत डिटेल टेस्ट करती है, आपका पूरा जेनेटिक टेस्ट करती है। दूसरा जो, बट टेस्ट तब नॉर्मली वही लोग कराते हैं जिनको कोई सिम्टम होता है, और जो टिपिकल सिम्टम है कि आपके जो बाउल मूवमेंट्स हैं उनमें चेंजेस आ रहे हैं, आपको बिल्कुल फूला फूला पेट लगता है, हमेशा खाना आपको ठीक से मतलब आपको डाइजेस्ट नहीं हो पा रहा है, और आपको जब भी जैसे ब्रेड खाएं तो ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम आती है कंपेयर टू अदर थिंग्स, कंपेयर टू राइस या कंपेयर टू नॉन व्हीट प्रोडक्ट्स। उसमें नॉर्मली लोग क्या करते हैं कि जैसे कुछ लोग तो टेस्ट कराते हैं, कुछ लोग जो टेस्ट नहीं करवा पाते हैं, वो एक हफ्ता गेहूं के बिना, और गेहूं के बिना रहना थोड़ा सा मुश्किल इसलिए नहीं है कि गेहूं में कोई खास बात है, बट क्योंकि 80% खाने जो बाहर मिलते हैं सब गेहूं के हैं, जैसे नूडल्स है, पिज्जा है, पास्ता है, और रोटी है, पूरी है, ब्रेड है, बिस्किट है। तो बाहर इतने ज्यादा गेहूं की चीजें बनती हैं कि उसको एक वीक एलिमिनेशन डाइट करना थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है, बट जो कर पाए, और अगर एक वीक एलिमिनेशन डाइट करके जिसमें आप बिल्कुल गेहूं से बनी हुई कोई भी चीज ना खाएं, ना बिस्किट, ना ब्रेड, ना रोटी, ना मैगी, ये सारी चीजें, तो एकदम सिम्टम्स सबसाइड होने शुरू हो जाते हैं। तो वो एक क्लियर इंडिकेशन है कि आपको ग्लूटेन से प्रॉब्लम है।
Absolutely. How are fibers helpful, and how are they present in foods? What are the kind of fibers you would advise people to have?
See, fibers are two kinds, soluble and insoluble fiber. The soluble fiber is the one, when you have a soluble fiber, it will go into your system and act as an anti-cholesterol agent. So typically, जैसे apple है, the skin of apple, छिलका, has pectin, which is anti-cholesterol. It will reduce excess cholesterol. And a non-soluble fiber would be like गेहूं का जो bran, the wheat bran, या जैसे जो brown rice होती है, तो उसका भी ब्रांड निकलता है, राइस ब्रांड। सी फाइबर हैज मल्टीपल बेनिफिट्स। फर्स्ट बेनिफिट आई वुड से इज कि वो आपके इंसुलिन को बैलेंस में रखता है। सो इफ यू आर ईटिंग इनफ फाइबर, योर इंसुलिन विल बी बैलेंस्ड, व्हिच इज अ डाइजेस्टिव हार्मोन व्हिच विल हेल्प यू डाइजेस्ट फूड। which is very important for many diseases, diabetes, cholesterol, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and many other hormonal disorders. So if your insulin goes out of balance, you can have multiple problems, multiple health conditions. So fiber is very important to keep insulin balance, number one. Number two, fiber is very important to protect against cancer. It has been seen that people who have a very low fiber diet, typically people who are heavy meat eaters, they have the highest risk of cancer. Because when you have very little fiber, the whole biome of your intestine changes. हमारे intestine में trillions of bacteria रहते हैं, trillions. In fact, number of bacterial cells in our body is more than human cells. इतने trillions रहते हैं. So ये जो बैक्टीरिया हैं, ये इनकी कॉलोनीज बदल जाती हैं, इनका नेचर बदल जाता है कि अगर आप बहुत ज्यादा एसिडिक डाइट खा रहे हैं जिसमें सिर्फ नॉन वेज है, चीनी है, फ्राइड है, और जैसे ही इनका नेचर बदल जाता है तो कैंसरस सेल होने शुरू होते हैं. तो इसीलिए फाइबर जो है वो हेल्दी बैक्टीरिया को हमारे इंटेस्टाइन में रहने देता है और खराब बैक्टीरिया को नहीं रहने देता. सो इट इज fibrous diet is anti-cancer. The third thing which is very important is that fiber is also very important for in improving your digestive process, because आपके bowel movements के लिए fiber चाहिए. The bowels can't move if your fiber is not there in your body, in your So fiber is actually, I would say, one of the dark horses which has never been recognized. Fiber को हमेशा waste माना गया है, but fiber is not waste. It has a very, very important function.
Absolutely. Can we therefore use herbs from our kitchen? Which ones would you recommend? Because these days you're talking about moringa also as the wonder drug.
See, herbs is different. Fiber is different. Fiber though is in every food. जैसे आप गेहूं खाएंगे, दलिया खाएंगे, that has fiber. If you have brown rice or unpolished rice, that has fiber. So fiber is in every food if you don't remove it. आप पूरा जैसे जो refined आटा है ना खाइए. तो if you have like if you have dalia, if you have broken wheat, unpolished rice, so that has fiber. Now the next thing what you're asking about is some of these foods which are basically herbs which have properties of healing properties. So moringa is one of them. So moringa is also very common in India, और moringa घरों में मिलता था. So ये moringa is very good as a, I would say, as one of the superfoods. Moringa is a superfood, tulsi is a superfood, amla is a superfood, ginger is a superfood, turmeric is a superfood. So many of these actually in Indian culture, there are many superfoods like sea buckthorn, जो कि कारगिल और Himalayan areas में उगता है, Himalayan berry जिसको कहते हैं, that is a superfood. So there are many superfoods in India, and in fact, India is very rich in these herbs, very right from what you say Kashmir and Kargil to Kerala. There are herbs in Northeast. There are so many natural herbs which are so much beneficial. So India has a very rich topography and diversity of plants also, and each area is very rich with herbs.
Right. Another important point is sugar. How do you curb your sugar cravings? As a nutritionist, what would you advise?
See, you don't have to curb a craving. You have to replace. If you are dieting too much, if you are going hungry, तो आपकी sugar cravings बढ़ेंगी. So I think it is important to replace. So the best way to replace is have more fruits in your diet, have more natural grains in your diet. Don't allow your insulin to spike. Sugar cravings उनको होती है जिनकी insulin, जैसे roller coaster चलता है बच्चों का, आपने देखा होगा Disney Worlds में. तो जब आपका इंसुलिन रोलर कोस्टर पे बैठा हो तो फिर शुगर क्रेविंग्स होगी कि कभी ऊपर जा रहा है कभी नीचे जा रहा है. So this, when the insulin rises very fast and crashes very fast, people get cravings. But if you're having food at regular intervals, and if you have enough fruits in your diet, and if you have enough fiber in your diet, then your insulin will not be sitting on a roller coaster and you will not get cravings. ये तो मैंने खुद देखा है. जो जितना ज्यादा ब्रेड और मैदा और ये सब खाएंगे उतनी शुगर क्रेविंग्स बढ़ेंगी. And of course, exercise. The more you exercise, the less cravings you'll have.
Exercise से एक बहुत अहम बात याद आई मुझे. Dr. Shikha, what are the 3 mistakes people make while losing weight?
I think the first mistake they make is that people think by eating less they will lose weight. You can never ever lose weight by eating less, because you lose weight by having a low glycemic index diet, not by eating less. Because और उसका सबसे बड़ा जो एग्जाम्पल है वो है कि जो लोग वेट लॉस करते हैं सही तरीके से, उनकी कैलोरी काउंट 1800 से ऊपर भी हुए तो उनका फिर भी वेट लॉस होता है, बट दे आर हैविंग फूड्स विच आर लो ग्लाइसेमिक. लो ग्लाइसेमिक का मतलब कि वो शरीर में जाके चीनी में नहीं बदलते. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू आर हैविंग बाजरा की रोटी, इफ यू आर हैविंग किनवा, इफ यू आर हैविंग मूंग दाल का चीला, बेसन का और जैसे चने के आटे की रोटी, और दीज आर ऑल लो ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स फूड्स, तो आपकी कैलोरी काउंट हो सकता है 1800 भी हो, 1900 भी हो, बट आपका फिर भी वजन कम होगा, because weight loss is not a function of calories. And this is one of the major things I discovered in my own clinical experience over 40,000 clients. Weight loss is a function of low glycemic diet, not of calories.
Absolutely. So these things need to be, thought of well before one goes in for fasting also. एक तरफ भारत में nutrition है, एक तरफ on the other hand, very starkly you have malnutrition. चाहे slums में देख लीजिए, अब those areas में देख लीजिए, तो उन लोगों को किस तरह की डाइट आप रेकमेंड करेंगे जो शायद इस प्रोग्राम को हमारे साथ देख रहे हैं और जिनके पास इतनी सारी सहूलतें नहीं होती?
I would say eat natural. चीनी मत खाइए, और रात में हफ्ते में 3 बार रात का खाने में नमक मत खाइए, या रात का खाना आप सूप ही सिर्फ ले लीजिए, रोटी चावल दाल ये सब मत खाइए. सो व्हाट आई फील इज, अगर हफ्ते में आप 3 दिन रात के खाने को सिर्फ सूप में कन्वर्ट करेंगे और चीनी अपनी डाइट से हटा देंगे, सिर्फ फेस्टिवल्स में खाइए, जैसे दिवाली है, लोहड़ी है, दशहरा या जो भी फेस्टिवल है आप जरूर खाइए, बट एवरी डे डोंट हैव शुगर. तो अगर आप ये सिर्फ 2-3 चीजें करेंगे और पानी प्रॉपर लीजिए, हाइड्रेशन अपने को कीजिए, एंड और सूर्य नमस्कार के आप जो है 25 राउंड कीजिए, तो आप हमेशा हेल्दी रहेंगे. प्रॉब्लम होती है कि लोग एक्सट्रीम्स में जाते हैं, या तो बिल्कुल खाना छोड़ देंगे, या जब खाएंगे तो इतनी चीनी खाएंगे, हर चीज में चीनी खाएंगे, और या फिर एक्सरसाइज करेंगे तो खूब ज्यादा करेंगे और वरना बिल्कुल छोड़ देंगे. आई थिंक एक्सट्रीम्स इज व्हाट वी शुड अवॉइड, बिकॉज एक्सट्रीम से क्या होता है कि सस्टेनेबल नहीं है. सी, आप जोश जोश में कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, बट उसको सस्टेन करना बड़ा मुश्किल है. सो आई थिंक इट्स important to do sustainable things. Start small, और धीरे धीरे करके, I'll give you an example. Many years back I'd gone to China, and the Great Wall of China, तो आपको पता ही है, उसकी एक सीढ़ी इतनी ऊंची होती है कि उसको चढ़ते चढ़ते ही बड़ा मुश्किल लगता है. तो जब मैंने कुछ सीढ़ियां चढ़ी तो मुझे लगा कि ये तो माय गॉड, आगे कितना जाना है, चढ़ेंगे कैसे. तो जो ऊपर से नीचे, मतलब जो नीचे की तरफ आ रहे थे, तो बड़ा इनकरेज करते हैं कि नहीं नहीं आप कर लेंगे, हम भी देखिए आ रहे हैं, यू प्लीज कैरी ऑन. एंड फाइनली धीरे करके व्हेन यू वॉक एंड यू रियलाइज, ऊपर से जब आप नीचे देखते हैं आप कितनी हाइट पे चढ़ के आए हैं, you feel कि it's an achievement. So similarly, I feel that health is not something जो overnight आप कर सकते हैं. Start small, make it a habit, and then within 1 year you'll see there'll be a complete transformation. 1 साल काफी होता है इंसान को अपने को ट्रांसफॉर्म करने के लिए, but start small.
बिल्कुल. चलते चलते आपसे ये जानना चाहूंगी, what are the latest advances according to you in nutrition and health?
I'm so glad you asked me this question because it's my favorite question actually. So the latest advances are 2. फर्स्ट, जिसका मैं आपको बताऊंगी कि जब हमने मेडिसिन पढ़ी थी तो हमने ये पढ़ा था कि जो आपका जेनेटिक प्रोफाइल है वो आपका एक तरह का लॉटरी का कार्ड है, जो मिला उसी में आपको शांति करनी है, गुजारा करना है, यू हैव टू मेक पीस विद इट. बट द लेटेस्ट फील्ड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन इज सेइंग नो, यू कैन चेंज योर जीन्स, यू कैन चेंज योर जेनेटिक स्ट्रक्चर, व्हिच कम्स अंडर द साइन ऑफ एपिजेनेटिक्स. द साइंस ऑफ एपिजेनेटिक्स सेज कि आपका जो जेनेटिक कोडिंग है उसको आप बदल सकते हैं अगर आपका खाना पीना, आपकी स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट और आपकी एक्सरसाइज को अगर आप बदल दें, तो आप पूरे अपने जेनेटिक कोड को, उसका जो एक्सप्रेशन है वो चेंज हो जाएगा. सो व्हाट इट सेज इज कि आपका जेनेटिक कोड हार्डवायर्ड नहीं है, उसमें कुछ चेंजेस अपने आप होते हैं एनवायरनमेंट के हिसाब से. इट्स इंटरैक्टिंग विद द एनवायरनमेंट, और अगर आप कुछ चीजें चेंज करें तो आप अपनी कोडिंग की जो मैनिफेस्टेशन है वो चेंज कर सकते हैं. सो दिस इज द बिगेस्ट थिंग इन न्यूट्रिशन. और पहले उससे था वो न्यूट्रिशन एंड जेनेटिक्स आया था, बट एपिजेनेटिक्स आई थिंक इज इवन few steps ahead of nutrigenetics now. It's talking about the entire environment affecting your genes.
Absolutely. And on that note, I'd like to thank you for joining us today and for all the insights. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time. Our deepest and warmest gratitude goes out. Sorry. In the end, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Shikha, for joining us and sparing your valuable time. Our deepest and warmest gratitude goes out to Eat Right India initiative by FSSAI, which is bringing a huge awareness in society to make a healthy, happy India. Also to Herbalife Nutrition for always encouraging us and supporting us in our endeavors. A big shout out to our broadcasting partners, Daily Hunt and Josh. I would like to conclude by saying, let us all invest, you and I, in better nutrition. On that note, many thanks for watching. Namaskar. We will talk to Anupama Menon today, who's founded the company Right Living. And she works exclusively for corporates. Anupama is a regular contributor of self-authored articles and thought contributor to various publications like Times of India, Men's Health, Deccan Herald, Good Times, Grazia, Mumbai, Pink Villa, Indulge Express, and others. She also shoots regular videos for Times of India Femina and Times Now. And she does regular Insta and FB lives and on portals like Tweak India and Good Times. Her practice started off modestly in Bangalore with a segment of a few clients in 2010, and today she's expanded all over the globe, has over 5,000 plus clients in India, Australia, USA, UK, Hong Kong, Singapore, and UAE. And she runs her practice and is extremely successful with experience of 20 years in the industry as a food coach and nutritionist. Many thanks for joining us today. And she's also been working with Goldman Sachs, Northern Trust, EY, to name a few. Her partner's name is Subake, also from Bangalore. What is your definition of nutrition?
So nutrition, it's high time that nutrition has more of a holistic view, Nidhi. And first of all, hi to all the viewers who are here to see us today. We hope you do go back learning something new, something that you can apply in your daily life. So nutrition has to have a holistic approach. It's not about just the food that you eat. It's about the life that you live. Whether you are sleeping well, whether you're thinking well, whether you have the ability to span your day with energy and vigor, all of this comes together to form in a holistic way to form nutrition, to form the right kind of nutrition for yourself. So it's not just about food and what you eat. It's also about how you live your life. And that's nutrition to me. Very, very simply put.
Absolutely. How do you explain lifestyle with nutrition? You're interacting with so many clients. Tell us about that.
So, there are some basic practices that we have learned, and this is something that I say very, very often. There are some basic practices that we have learned as children, and we forget as adults. As children, we learn to eat on time, we learn to sleep on time because there's somebody sitting with the traditional chadi over our heads saying that this is what you're supposed to do. But as soon as we grow older and the stresses of life take over, we tend to forget these life lessons, not realizing how importantly they contribute towards our health. For example, sleeping late has become a kind of syndrome all over the globe. Until you sleep at 2 or 3 in the night, you are not fashionable enough. And, sleeping late, waking up late, kind of, sets your circadian cycle very differently. Your circadian cycle, which is your sleep-wake cycle, is extremely important and traditional. It has never changed and it is never going to change. You will need to sleep. Ideally, you should sleep by 10:30, 11, maximum 11:30. Sleep for your complete 7 hours and wake up in the morning by 6:37. Now, if you sleep at the same time every day and wake up at the same time every day, it completely changes the way you live and the way health is defined in your system. That's the first, most simple rule. And for nothing can that change. Nothing is worth it to change your circadian cycle. So that's a very important lifestyle principle that you don't really need me to tell you about. I'm sure you understand that, because it's important for body detox. It's important for body repair. Your body is like the most important machinery that you have. And if you don't allow it to rest, it's like your machinery, right? I mean, if you are running a factory or an industry, you have machines, it needs to be well oiled. It needs to be, its parts need to be repaired. If there are screws that have come off loose, they need to be tightened. Just like that, nature and your body will take care of you when you sleep. It repairs your tissues. It helps you to, in the case of kids, it helps them to grow. Your muscles are repaired, your system is repaired. Whatever little junking is happening in the body, your body kind of detoxes itself as you sleep. And if your sleep is not right, a lot of things can go wrong, including I'm sure a lot of you have heard of inflammation, including the inflammation rising in the body. Inflammation by itself is not a disease, but it's that one thing that gives rise to a lot of diseases, be it cancer, be it irregulation of sugar patterns, be it blood pressure, thyroid, n number of metabolic syndromes that you might see. So that's the most important thing. Sleep. Exercise, super important. All of us, most of us, live a very sedentary lifestyle these days. We go to office, we come back, we have desk jobs. Look at right now, I'm sitting, right? So most of the times we're sitting around. We have very convenient lifestyles where we have other people to take care of the jobs that we don't want to do, which might be physically exerting. So then intentional exercise must be a part of your lifestyle. I'm not
whether it's brisk walking, whether it's anything.
Anything. You don't have to hit the gym for 2 or 3 hours every day. Keep it very practical. 40 to 45 minutes, even 4 or 5 times a week will bring the biggest change in your life. Eating right. More than eating right, eating on time. If you eat your breakfast every day at 8:30, have your lunch every day at 1:30, have your dinner every day by 7:30, and wrap it up. Eat your snacks in between, eat right. Get rid of processed food, minimize the amount of sugar that you are having, minimize the amount of trans fats that you are having. Just putting these practices into place consciously will help you run the long run. You don't have to do anything else. Then, of course, there might be special cases where you need to take care of being overweight, or you need to take care of the fact that your sugar levels may be fluctuating. That's a different case altogether. But for most of us, 80% of us, this is all that you need to go back to and revisit to redefine your life and your health.
Absolutely. Anupama, your plans are full of supplemental science. Could you explain some of these plans according to what food choices we should make?
When you say supplemental science, what does that mean?
I mean, there are all kinds of mythbusters around nutrition that you talk about. And supplemental science, environment-friendly practices that you have been advocating. Why so?
So I think what I have been advocating all this while is to stay away from fad diets and to move towards practices that are simple, to delve into those foods which are part of your kitchen, have been part of your kitchen and your lifestyle. Look back at your ethnicity. If you are a South Indian, in all probability, rice might suit you. If you are a North Indian, in all probability, wheat might suit you. What I'm trying to say here is, don't go off foods completely. For example, gluten-free, dairy-free, food-free, calorie-free. There are so many things in the market, right?
And there's so many diets too.
That's exactly what I'm saying. There are so many fad diets. But do they really work for you? Is what you need to understand. So before you jump up and get into any of these fad diets, understand what your body structure is like. What you have to be able to do a diet, so to say, which helps you to identify those foods that work for your system. Those foods which do not produce any residue in your body. And that's what's important. So if rice works for me, then rice is what I should be eating. But if wheat works for me, wheat is what I should be eating. Just because the world is saying gluten-free doesn't mean that I need to go off wheat. Everybody needs to go off wheat. Think about something as simple as our clothes. It's an extrinsic view. And yet We pay so much attention to our clothes, right? Uska fit, uska color, how it looks on us. We go for a trial. We do so many things just for clothes. So for food, how can you take up something that is so general? It is important to find what is good with your body, what works for your system, what keeps your digestive tract right, what keeps your gut, what is friendly with your gut, and then delve deeper into those foods that work with your system.
All right. Anupama, you've spoken a lot on sugar. Is sugar that bad or has it fallen out of favor?
It's not that sugar is bad. Okay, so number one, white sugar can really peak your sugar levels. Another myth that I would like to bust is, like most people say, that I don't have sugar, I just have jaggery and honey. So remember, too much of any of these is not good for your system, because these have the ability to raise your sugar levels. I have never said go off sugar completely. I have said moderated. 2 or 3 teaspoons of sugar a day is absolutely not a problem. In fact, I'm the first one to say that at least 2 or 3 times in a week, you should be able to eat what you feel like, go out, socialize, have a good time, eat those foods which you desire, even if it is fried or a dessert. Absolutely no problem. It is just that your general life, 80% of your life has to be regulated with the right kind of foods. And then 20% you can always let go and enjoy yourself. Otherwise, you're going to reach a point where you start feeling deprived. Then it no longer is a lifestyle plan. Then it's something that you have been forced into doing. And that will never work in the long run.
Absolutely. So, according to you, your one-day meal plan for a working individual should be what?
Again, like I said, if I suggest that, then I'm going against exactly what I said right now, right? Because everything doesn't suit everybody, but I can tell you what I do. For example, I begin with some walnuts and almonds in the morning. I make sure I have a green juice every single day. I make sure I have 2 or 3 amlas every single day in the form of a cold pressed juice. I ensure that 40 to 50% of my diet contains carbs. Rice doesn't work very well for me, but wheat works beautifully. So I have whole grains. I do a fair amount of proteins in my diet. I do have eggs. Dairy works beautifully for me. So I ensure that I have a glass of milk every day. Dahi is a big part of my diet. So like I said, over a period of time, I have come to the understanding of what kind of foods work for me. And I fit that into my diet. My body's philosophy is moderate protein, moderate carb. And that is exactly what I do. And after that, because it's working for me, I have a great digestive system. My gut is really happy with me. I have energy till the end of the day. And those are my markers. That's my body awareness. So anybody comes and tells me tomorrow, listen, there is this fat diet and you will lose a kilo, it won't bother me. I won't even look at it, because what I'm doing today is working for me. And that's what really matters, right?
Absolutely. So, according to you, since we're talking about fit moms, what are the basic mistakes that parents are making? Junk food, what is it?
For their children, I think regulation. See, I have 2 children too, and I know that it can really become difficult to regulate your child's diet. I think what's more important, and I'm telling you, these learnings, not only as a professional, but also from the mistakes that I have made. I would say regulating their diet and involving them in decision making is very important. Forcing a food pattern on them because you think it is healthy for them just doesn't work. While I understand that moms and dads, understand what is good for their kids, how you approach them with what you know is important. You also learned it at one point in time, but how do you get your kids to understand what they need to? So involve them in that decision making. Help them understand that once or twice a week or 2 or 3 times a week they can junk, and allow them that. But the rest of the time, they have to stick to what the family is eating. Make it, as kids grow older, they love eating in their rooms. They like eating with their friends. They start spending less time on the dining table. All that will happen. But these are phases. You have to go through these different phases, and it'll all fall into place. The most important thing is at the end of all your efforts and journey, whether the child itself understands the importance of eating healthy, how it affects their body, how it affects their skin, how it affects their hair, how it affects their ability to think, how it affects their energy levels. I think that's important. So that's one mistake, not involving your children in their decision-making capacity. Too much of viewing time in front of the TV or the laptop. Unfortunately, we are going through a phase where this is the way we meet people, right? I mean, what do you do? But as much as possible, trying to get them to physically exercise, doing what they can, helping them to stay safe, and yet being able to go out and physically engage with themselves is very, very important. So I think these are the two biggest mistakes, so to say, that parents make, and it's never too late. You can start today.
Tell us something about adulterated and fried food, and how could it have an impact on our mental health also. So what do you want to tell fit moms to be fitter and fit children?
Yeah, so more than adulterated, I would say processed food. I think processed food. So I always say, I forget it. I forget the word I used to use. Too much of sugar, too much of trans fat, and too much of salt. These are the three things that you should be aware of. And if you look at processed food, it has one of these three, right? It has either too much salt or too much sugar or too much fat. These are the three things that you have to be careful of and keep away from your diet and your food routine. Very, very important. And these can have a major effect on the way you think, on the way, it affects your immunity to a large extent. And when your body is immune and when your body is healthy, when your immunity levels are high and your levels of inflammation are low, trust me, it has a huge impact on your health, on your ability to just go through the day. There is a difference in waking up at 6 o'clock, full of energy, and being able to perform all the activities that you want to, think well, think deeply, enjoy the work that you do, and feel tired only when you go to sleep in the night, when you fall into your bed. And that too, with complete abandon, you go to sleep. And you have that entire 7 hours of rest, and you wake up in the morning to a new day in all excitement. All of this gets affected by the food that you eat. So the cleaner you eat, the better will your day be. And day after day, when you eat healthy and you eat well, you avoid too much of the processed food. Once in a while, indulgence is okay. You avoid too much of sugar. You avoid too much of the fatty foods. You will realize that you feel lighter, you feel better, your thinking capacity is better, feeling of fulfillment, the sense of fulfillment is larger and higher. Then why wouldn't you be happy? So your mental capacity or your mental wellness is also higher.
You've spoken a lot about weight loss, Anupama. I want to understand from you, a lot of individuals want to just suddenly, lose weight and lose weight. Does it work? What is your advice to even moms wanting to look lean, even, adolescents wanting to look thin and that waist size? How is this possible? That what do you advocate? Is that really true that you can suddenly shed kilos?
That's a myth. It's a complete myth. So I'll give you a little example. It may take a little time, but it'll help you to understand the structure better. Let's say I am 20 kilos heavier than. So first of all, the first question is it about weight or is it about fitness? It's also about weight. You can't really define or separate one from the other. Anything that is in excess in the body is not meant to be there. So excess weight is not meant to be there, and it could be the cause of many health problems that you might encounter. So you need to lose those 20 extra kilos. So you'll say, okay, I'm going to do these 20 kilos in the next 3 months. And to do 20 kilos in 3 months or even 4 months for that matter, you have to be extremely strict with yourself and go on to an extremely calorie deficit kind of a diet. So that means you're doing something that's stark, something that's extremely, something like a crash diet, something that's extremely difficult, which is probably giving you weight loss. But is it managing your health? You don't know. So you do this for, and remember, whatever you do to lose the weight, you will have to continue to do 70% of that to maintain that weight loss. So when you do something that is so drastic, you lose maybe about 10 or 15 kilos over a period of 3 months. But how do you keep it up? You can't. So over the next 5 months, you've gained those 15 kilos and you've gained some more. Because obviously after 3 months of depriving yourself, you've like gone on this rampage and said, now to main sab kuch khane wali hu. So 6 months later, you have gained all that weight back. So from the time that you started those 3 months, plus another 6 months, in 9 months, you've now gained 5 kilos. That is 5 kilos more than where you started off. On the other hand, let's say you divide those 20 excess kilos over 2 years and say that this year I'm going to lose 15 kilos. And next year I will lose the remaining 5 kilos. Imagine that stress itself is gone off. Because now over 12 months, I only have to lose about 15 kilos. I might lose a little faster initially and then slightly slower. So over the 9 months where the other person who's tried to do it very quickly has actually gained 5 kilos, you've already lost about 10 or 12 maybe. How good that makes you feel. And then at the end of next year, you've probably lost another 3.
But I'd like to stop you here, Anupa. You're saying 15 kilos in 1 year is possible. How is it possible? क्या खाना चाहिए और क्या नहीं खाना चाहिए? यही जनता जानना चाहती है कि अगर 15 किलो ने लूज करना है तो वो कहाँ पे अपने आप को रिस्ट्रिक्ट करे?
So it's very, very, very important to understand that, again, every food or every diet does not work for everybody. That is where you understand the importance of professional help. Just like when you are not well, you would go to a doctor. Would you treat yourself? No. For a simple cold, you will gargle and do what it takes, rest and whatever, right? So you can do simple things to begin with. You can do simple things like regulating your sugar, exercising right, making sure that you're regulating your food, eating on time. But anything beyond that is very specific and individualistic. And for that, you will have to approach either somebody like me who is a nutritionist, or you could approach a fitness trainer who understands exercise better. You have to be able to understand where your gaps are and then address that comfortably with somebody who knows his or her job. That's how you do it.
Absolutely. Give us some tips for fit moms, and in the end, chalte chalte aap kya kehna chahengi?
So again, like I said, basic things, lots of fruits and vegetables. When I say lots of fruit, I don't mean like eat a kilo of fruit every day. When I'm saying 2 servings of fruit every day, 3 or 4 servings of vegetables out of 1 or 2 servings could be raw, 2 servings could be cooked. Making sure you're having your nuts every day. Making sure you're balancing your food with the right amount of protein and the right amount of carbs. A lot of people think that carbohydrates are bad for us. Not at all. Carbohydrates are actually good for us. In fact, Indians grow on carbs right from the time that you are born to the time that you're an adult. So there is no way that your gut will not understand the effect of carbs and how to metabolize it. So making sure that you are doing the right amount of protein, balancing your nutrition, making sure that you finish your dinner by 7:30, and then you are eating nothing for the next 12 hours. I've heard of things like, we all know that there's intermittent fasting and you're not supposed to eat in the morning. Do what works for your system. Don't follow rules blindly. Rules are meant to be there to guide you, but you have to know what it takes to do what is right for your system. 14, 16 hours fast may not work for you. Don't do it. Like, it doesn't work for me. I need my breakfast at 7:38. I need to finish my dinner by 7:30 in the evening. It doesn't work for me otherwise. So that kind of awareness to self is very important. And exercise. Weight training may not work for everybody, but cardio works for most people. So start with a walk, start with a jog, and then slowly understand what works for your system and then delve into weight training or functional training. Take it slow. You have to go the long haul. Don't think of short-term benefits. Always allow the weight loss to be imbibed by your body. Dheere dheere, small, small steps. That's what's very, very important. And that is something that I propagate all the time. When you're talking about tips, more than these short tips, it's the concept and that understanding which has to seep in.
Absolutely. And on that note, I'd like to thank you for joining us today, Anupama. It was a wonderful program with a lot of insights from you. We do hope the viewers enjoyed the session. Let food be our medicine. Let us begin to strengthen our immunity and also safeguard the future. I'd like to thank Herbalife Nutrition for supporting us in this endeavor. I'd like to thank the Daily Hunt app and the Josh app who worked relentlessly to create this platform for us. And a special shout out to FSSAI and Eat Right India. On that note, many thanks for watching. Namaskar.